Why aren't you protesting to bring them all home right now?
Well, genocide defender and part-time U.S. Senator John Fetterman made some ridiculous comments once again, this time speaking out against protesters that want to see a ceasefire. So the way he does it here is so stupid. I've seen other people use this attempted line of argument. I'm going to play this in 3 different parts, actually. So there are 3 points I want to make, but you got to see this.
I think I've met with six family or victim groups during all of this. And, that should have stopped because everyone should have been home long ago. And I don't understand why, to anyone that is protesting or demanding for a ceasefire, let's be honest here, why aren't you protesting to bring them all home right now? Why aren't you demanding that Hamas surrenders?
All right. God, this is so stupid. Let me just start by addressing his last point there. Why aren't there protesters out there demanding that Hamas release the hostages? Because the U.S. government is not supporting Hamas. If you're a protester in the West, in Europe, in Canada, in the UK, in the US, protesting your government to get Hamas to release the hostages would be like petitioning your manager to get a coffee maker when you work at Starbucks. This line is so stupid. It's amazing. Like, I've seen this argument on Twitter, and Twitter is, random idiots. This is a U.S. senator. Like, completely not understanding the point of protesting your government. And here you have, why aren't you protesting Hamas? Netanyahu has just rejected a ceasefire deal with Gaza that would have brought home all of the hostages. This was Hamas supporting this. We're going to deliver all the hostages back. In exchange, we'll get hostages back as well, or prisoners back. But they're prisoners on both sides, essentially. But this would have ended the whole thing. Netanyahu is the one that rejected it. So it's pretty clear to me that the protesters are protesting the right the right way here, especially because let's say this is not the case. Let's say both sides are completely equal. There's no power imbalance. Is Hamas sitting at home going through, checking out CNN and checking out the protests? Oh, these protesters, they are protesting us to release hostages. Well, I guess we're going to release them now. Is that how this works, John Fetterman? Is that what's going to happen? No, the protesters are protesting their government, be it the U.S. government, be it the Canadian government, be it in the UK, their government, to ensure that they are putting pressure on their partner, the far right-wing Israeli government, to push for a ceasefire and end this fighting, which would result in, as you saw, bringing home the hostages as well. There is no good faith argument here, anywhere, in defense of what Israel is doing. There is no possible way to defend it. So they have to attempt, lines like this, which are just completely off the wall insane. Great post here from Sarah Higgy, tweeting out, evil is so normalized that this guy can basically go, quote, the bad guys need to surrender or more innocent people will just have to be killed, and is considered not even really that alarming. Yeah, I have gone through, let's go through it again, since I've done many videos on this, but these are more recently updated numbers here. Palestinian death toll is 27,478 people after nearly 4 months. A quarter of Gaza's residents are now starving, and 85% of the population has been driven from their homes. By the way, these are internationally recognized numbers. Even the Israeli government is not disputing this figure. That amounts to about 1 in every 100 people in Gaza that have been killed. And putting aside think of the level of injuries that often gets lost in all of this. People that have lost limbs, their lives completely changed forever. That isn't even included in this number here. And these are the journalists that have been killed since October 7th, which includes at least 94, mostly Palestinians. Every one of these is a war crime. Death toll. These numbers are outdated, but I'm showing you this graph because it gives you an idea of the disproportion. The orange are Palestinians, purple is Israelis, and again, this number is actually past 25,000 now in the orange. Now, in contrast to that, the death toll from the attack in Israel is a total of 1,139, which includes civilians, children, security forces, and foreigners. So that's the total. This number has not changed since October 7th. Kind of tells you where the power imbalance is, who's the one doing the bombings. And this is why there are protests. This was back in November. House approved a $14.5 billion assistance for Israel, which led to more civilian casualties. This is that in context here over U.S. economic and military aid to Israel from 1951 to 2023. So you can see the amount given by comparison to previous years and comparing Israel to other countries as well. So Israel is the largest cumulative recipient of U.S. aid. And that since its founding, receiving about $300 billion adjusted for inflation in total economic and military assistance. And yeah, again, you see the complete imbalance here. Just the level of support that Israel receives from the U.S. government may help you to understand why there are so many protests against the U.S. government in support of cutting off aid to Israel as they continue this genocide. And this is more money that potentially could have gone to Israel and still might, but the House failed to pass the clean $17.6 billion Israel aid bill, thankfully. Now let's get to the next clip.
And now I support a two-state solution as well, but that is meaningless until Hamas is effectively eliminated as well. Now, of course, because Hamas now disavows and rejects a two-state solution as well, too.
Is how that clip should have ended. What a complete joke. Israeli Prime Minister tells U.S. he opposes a two-state solution. Where's John Fetterman? Why isn't he angry about this? Where's his press conference discussing this? Not to mention, the Palestinian Authority says there can be no security and stability in region without a two-state solution. One of the power centers for Palestinians, the Palestinian Authority, wants a two-state solution. This is the group that Netanyahu has continually sidelined while propping up Hamas for the sole purpose of creating this monster to then have some kind of excuse to go in and just graze the land and completely cleanse Gaza of Palestinians so that he could take it over. That's been clearly the plan, and it's been laid out. This has been well documented. Netanyahu's comments over decades have been well documented in terms of his intentions, in terms of how he wants to see the expansion of Israel. This is very clear, which is why he's against a two-state solution. He does not want Palestinians to have their own state because he wants that land. Last clip here.
And stop pretending that this is some kind of equivalence here now. This is like...
Not much to really say to that, except for I completely agree. There is no equivalence.